Virgin Most Powerful Radio, sharing the gospel with clarity and charity.
I'm a soldier for Christ. I'm a soldier for Christ. I'm a soldier. No, they'll never take us under, because we're bringing truth like thunder. Raining on your speakers like a ton of bricks. Hold the cross high, cause we're Catholics. Fight the good fight with the truth. Stand tall with the truth. I'm a warrior for Christ. I'm in love with the truth. Love God, save souls, slay error. Go stronger. Go stronger.
Welcome to the Terry and Jesse Show. This is a special edition show. Jesse's out of town, and I have my special guest, Barbara Nicolosi, with us. And I want to say, first of all, Barbara began her career in Hollywood. She was a producer of 5 plays at an award-winning co-op theater in Hollywood. She was a theological consultant on Saving Grace and For the Passion of Christ. She was a writer on the Fatima movie and the founder of Act One. It's a program helping young Catholics infiltrate, I love it, the Hollywood and the mainstream media. Barbara Nicolosi, welcome to the Terry and Jesse Show.
Thanks for having me, Terry. It's great.
We're just glad to have you. And, you know, I want to encourage our listeners to get an update on what you're doing and, you know, your school where you're teaching now. And can you just share with our listeners what you're up to right now at this present time?
Yeah, I am the coordinator of all the screenwriting programs at Regent University in Virginia Beach. So the graduate programs and the undergraduate programs, all the script and theater screenwriting programs. So it's quite a big switch from what I was doing. I was working in the Honors College at APU teaching great books, but now I'm back to teaching story to wannabe writers, beginning writers, and I love doing that. But I also have this movie on Fatima coming out that I wrote.
Tell us about it.
It's now August 14th. That movie will be in the theaters, if the theaters are open by then.
Yeah. Well, we hope so, Barb. Hey, Barb, I wanted to set the stage because here at the Terry and Jesse Show, we try to inspire people to love Jesus Christ and his bride, the church, and I believe that that's what you do in your work, helping people in that respect. And we are living in challenging times. Over the last 40 years from my own career here, where I've tried to share the gospel with people, I've run into so many scandalous events, everything from, you know, my bishop ending up leaving the bishopry because he was having problems with his own sexual identity, from all kinds of scandalous things I don't need to go into. But the point of it is I've seen a lot of scandal. I've kind of kept it quiet by saying, well, that was just an exception. But when the McCarrick, former Cardinal McCarrick case came through, and it was obvious that there was a problem in the church with homosexuality, I started saying to myself, well, we got to clean up our act. And I know that Pope Francis has talked about it. I'm actually concerned that nothing has actually taken place with McCarrick. At this point, we haven't found out who are the other players. And I just find that it's disconcerting for me as a layman to see in our church scandal, and it seems like nothing's been done in many cases. These people just get away with it. And I wanted to ask if you'd be so good and so kind to share an experience you had in regarding really sad, scandalous things that have gone on, even at the Catholic University in Washington, D.C., which most of us would think is, gosh, a wonderful Catholic university. It's got a great history. But can you share what happened to you personally? And I don't want you to say this, do this, you know, in the sense of trying to get people in trouble, but I'm trying to, in a loving way, is to ask Holy Mother, the Church, to look in and say, wait, we got a problem. Can we clean this up? Because that's not what Jesus has been teaching for 2,000 years, and we're allowing these things to happen. It's misleading young people and not so young. So tell us your story.
No, it's the only reason I'm thinking of, you know, telling this story, and I've been thinking for the last, it happened almost a year ago now to me, and I've been hesitant because, you know, it's like, well, all right, that was a bad thing that happened to me, kind of actually demonic, with a better word that I would say at Catholic U. But I do think that the bigger issue is what they're doing at Catholic U is that there are conservative people there who are, theologically conservative, who think that they can make deals with people who are, not only ambivalent to Catholicism, but antagonistic,
Okay.
absolutely antagonistic. And so that's what is going on at Catholic U. And this is happening all over the church, right? That our side always wants to get along. The other side lops off heads. They don't feel the need to be tolerant of us. But so that's, I think it's a wrong thinking. I think the idea of surrendering part of the mission field to people who are antithetical to our faith in our Catholic institutions in the name of, getting along and whatever, actually does so much harm. And when you're talking a university, you're talking young people whose faith is being destroyed in the name of some kind of covert agenda that people like you and I, or maybe, I thought they were like you and I, think they're being just so cagey and trying to pull one over on the left in the church. And in fact, they're being made to serve the agenda of the left. So, yeah, I mean, I can jump in here and
tell us what you're talking, because right now I'm hearing a kind of a problem that what tell us, set the stage. You were trying to get a job. Is that what was going on? Or
what happened was I received a heads up from a friend of mine who was at Catholic U, teaching there, that they were thinking of starting a film program.
Oh, great.
And I was like, okay, it's about time, 115 years after film is invented and the Bishop's University is finally going to, get involved. And so I was very excited about this. And I was also looking to move back to the East Coast, and I would love to have taught in a Catholic university.
Sure.
I've taught with evangelicals at evangelical schools now for my whole pretty much professional time, and so it would have been, wow, I would love to teach with Catholics, in a Catholic institution.
Sure.
Anyway, so I approached the people at Catholic U and said, I sent the dean of the School of Media a message and said, I heard you're looking to start a film program. And they were like, yeah, so let's meet with you. So, we met, and I met with the new provost there, and I met with the dean of the school, the Rome School, it's called, for art. And that encompasses theater, music, acting, singing, voice, videography, photography, visual arts, etc. Right? They all fall under this Rome School, and so I got excited. I met with them, and they told me, the provost and the dean, that they were remaking the Rome School to be Orthodox Catholic.
Okay.
But that they had been slowly. The university had a new president, and from a few years now, and that he was slowly replacing all of the people who were problematic, let's say that, anti-Catholic, on the faculty of Catholic U. But they were doing it very carefully and cagily because they didn't want it to become a cause célèbre, right? And I was like a little leery of that, but they told me, well, we're working very carefully. So they said, we want to bring you in, and you can, plant the flag of orthodoxy in the art school, and then we'll take it from there. Mm-hmm. So I was pretty excited about this, and I spent a lot of time actually drafting a proposal for a Catholic film program, what that would look like, and because it was Catholic U, I put all kinds of quotes from popes and documents from the Vatican on media, and I really, thought, wow, this is so great. I'm going to be able to be who I am in my entirety, at Catholic U, and training a new generation of young filmmakers who are steeped in a deep philosophical and theological understanding of the Catholic imagination in cinema. So that's what I thought.
Okay.
I was getting into.
And so what happened?
Well, the day that I went for so they kind of pushed it along, and they called me up. They said, okay, you have to come and have a meeting with the faculty. It's all pro forma. Mm-hmm. We're going to do this, et cetera. And so the morning I got there, well, there was a kind of a weird sign that things weren't all right at Catholic U, and that is, just as on the side.
Okay.
When I went to Regent University for my interview, and that's where I'm teaching now, they not only had someone meet me at the airport with a nice car to pick me up and take me to dinner, and then put me at the Hilton, but they had faculty meet me for all the meals. They had a whole lineup for me. I was never alone unless I wanted to be. Campus tours, everything. Catholic U said to me, the assistant of the dean said, yeah, well, when you get here, save your receipt and we'll reimburse you for the cab. Okay. So when I got there, they not only didn't have me in a hotel, but they had put me up in a dorm room. The dorm room had no air conditioning. It was it was June in Washington, D.C.
Oh, humid.
There was no soap in the room or shampoo. It was just so very, very different. And I always think that hospitality is an indicator of holiness.
I agree.
I think that people who treat other people with reverence are full of the love of God. So that distressed me that my reception there was so weird, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, the next morning, I'm getting ready to go meet with the faculty committee who's going to vet me, and the dean and the provost, who I said are Catholics or conservatives, they said to me, we kind of sat there and talked about nothing, and then all of a sudden the dean says to me, Barbara, where are you with homosexuality?
Hang on a second. We're going to take a quick break. That's a great teaser. What? Oh, my gosh. I'm here at the Terry and Jesse Show with Barbara Nicolosi talking about an event that took place at Catholic U. You won't want to miss it. Here at the Terry and Jesse Show on Virgin Most Powerful Radio. We'll be right back with an answer to that question.
We got Ernesto from Long Beach.
I just wanted to comment, and I just wanted to thank you guys. And I kind of wanted to encourage people that are listening, maybe that are not donating, because honestly, I got to be honest. I used to think you guys were a little
too over the top.
Yeah.
That's right.
If God gave us a lot, and I have the blessing of listening to all this, I just want to call all the people. I got 5 kids, and I don't make a lot of money, and I'm still donating to you guys.
God bless you, brother. You're amazing.
We have to do this. We have to do the extra. And it's not even the extra. People see it like it's extra. Kneeling for communion, saying your rosary, saying the Divine Mercy Chaplet. It is not extra. It's what the church tells us to do.
Amen. You're a good man, brother.
30 years old, 29 years old. 5 kids, and I thank you guys. But everybody else, man, get on fire. Fight for the truth, man. I know what I'm telling you guys.
I love it.
Out there.
This is Terry Barber. I want to thank you for supporting Virgin Most Powerful Radio. And here's an easy way to support us by going to smile.amazon.com and type in Catholic Resource Center or Virgin Most Powerful Radio. And when you log in your Amazon account and you purchase products, a portion of it will go right back in supporting Virgin Most Powerful Radio. And it doesn't cost you a dime. I want to thank you ahead of time because that supports us year-round. May God bless you and your family. This is Terry Barber. I want to thank you for your support here at Virgin Most Powerful Radio. Here's an easy way to do it. If you're going to sell or buy a house, call Real Estate for Life, 877-543-3871, because they're going to get you a Christ-centered agent to purchase your home or to sell your home. And at the close of escrow, a portion of his commission goes right back to Virgin Most Powerful Radio. Call 877-543-3871. Thank you so much for your support.
Welcome back to the Terry and Jesse Show. To join the conversation, call 888-526-2151. Now, here's Terry and Jesse.
Welcome back. Jesse's out of town. I have Barbara Nicolosi with me, and I couldn't have picked a better teaser to have a break. We were just getting to the break, and Barbara was just setting a stage. She was in a little area at Catholic University talking to two people regarding potential employment. And Barbara, could you I wasn't sure if I heard you correctly. What was the first question they asked?
Well, this was before we get in the room with the chairs of the art department.
Okay.
I was with the provost and the dean of the art school, who are, conservative Catholics, and they said to me, Barbara, where are you with homosexuality? And I went, well, where am I? I'm where the is. I was like, I don't know. And so then the dean got kind of, like she coughed, and then she said, well, the reason I ask, it's because one of the professors who's going to be interviewing you is a happily married gay man. Mm-hmm. And he's a little sensitive about this topic. And my sense is that they have been doing research on you and just so you know. And I was freaked out. And I said to her and the provost, wait a minute, you're having me vetted for a job at Catholic U by a happily married gay man? I said, what? I said, those people aren't fair. He's not going to be fair to me. He's going to be awful. And she said, well, he's one of our most popular faculty, and there's nothing we can do because he has tenure.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was processing this, and so as we walk in and go over to meet with the four chairs. So I had two meetings basically. One with the chairs in the morning, and then in the afternoon, I met with the whole art faculty, anybody who wanted to be there. It was probably about 8 or 10 people, and then I taught a class. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so the chairs, when they filed into the room, there was a weird thing again that should have told me something was up, because people didn't make eye contact with me.
Ouch.
They didn't look at me. This continued pretty much the whole day. The entire next 2 hours with these chairs, no one called me by my name. No one looked at me. When they talked to me, talked like up and over. This is something people do when they're dehumanizing.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. And so it was very odd to me because, I usually experience interviewing of potential faculty as in a very cordial thing. But this was not. So honestly, there was a couple of preliminary comments in the beginning, and something, and then they started in. So one of them, honestly, if this guy wasn't gay, he's missed his calling. So he one of the other professors. So there were 4 professors in the room, 3 women and a man, and I believe he was in charge of the musical theater. But he said to me, I just need to know right off the bat if you do your own social media. And I'm hoping you don't.
Wow.
And I said, well, yes, I do my own social media. Who else would do my social media? And he said, well, I just need to know, did you post that approval of that bishop up in New England who said, the anti-gay tweet on Twitter? So this was, if you recall, last summer, Bishop Tobin of Providence put a statement out that Catholics should not participate in gay pride events.
Of course, I remember that.
Yeah, and I had forwarded on this tweet and said, good for him.
Yeah, of course, he's giving what the church teaches.
This was the first thing. And so I said, yeah, I did that. He was affirming Catholic teaching. And no joke, Terry, all of the professors went like this.
Oh my gosh.
Like hands over ears, face looking up to the sky, really? Like, oh, what further need have we of witnesses?
Oh, this is
you have heard it from, and I was just like, what in the world?
What's going on here?
Yeah, it went downhill from there. The next 2 hours.
You think?
I was accused of being homophobic, Islamophobic.
Oh my gosh.
I would be suppressor of freedom of speech and freedom of art. And finally, I mean, the big clincher of it at the end was, because I had put all of these, as I said, all of these papal quotes in my proposal and things from the Vatican on media. And one of the professors held it up, my proposal, like between her 2 fingers, like she was holding a rat or something.
Yes.
And she said, or he said, it was the guy again. He said, this is one of the most divisive things I have ever read. And so I said, divisive? What? How is it divisive? And he said, well, your constant reference to the Catholic imagination,
What?
the Catholic, vision of the arts. And I said, well, yes, this is Catholic you. So
Last time I
and
looked.
said, what's the problem with that? And he said, none of us would be able to be included in your vision because we don't identify that way.
Ooh.
And so he went on to explain that they don't even identify as Christian.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And then there was one of the professors, she broke in to say, well, I am Catholic, but I'm a bad one, and I'm proud of that. Okay. All right. So here you have the 4 chairs of the art school at Catholic U.
Yeah.
And they went on to tell me things they were doing at the art school in a kind of braggy way to tell me how out of place I would feel. So they said to me at one point, we had a student last year who won our award for best, I believe they said she won the award for the best art presentation at Catholic U for the year from a student. And basically what they said to me was she documented in close detail her with photography, her transition from male to female.
Oh my gosh.
And they said to me, how you would not have let her do that, would you? And I said, because I'm sweating at this point.
I would be sweating too.
So hostile. I mean, these people were awful. It was really awful. I've been treated better at Warner Brothers. I was at Miramax under Harvey Weinstein, and I was treated with more grace, right?
Yeah.
But I said, well, I don't know. I would talk to the student. I said, I usually encourage the students to find the beautiful. And one of them threw her hand up in the air and rolled her eyes and said, beauty. And who decides what that is? You.
Oh my God.
So what you have here is the art school chairs sneering at the idea of the beautiful at Catholic University, right? They went on. They continued to. They told me, one of the guy teacher said, if you got this job, I would need to warn my students that you are not safe.
Oh my gosh.
They had combed through my social media to find things they threw them on the table, a stupid little poem I wrote that mentioned guns in it like 10 years ago. There was, they couldn't find anything really, but they knew who I was, and they knew that I was an Orthodox Catholic, and that was not going to work for them at Catholic U. And so they kept reiterating over and over that I would be, Islamophobic to their. And here's another thing that's going on at Catholic U.
Tell us.
If this is true, but a friend of mine who worked there said that they've let the Muslim students, who they get a lot of at Catholic U, and they pay full price, so they're coming from the Middle Eastern wealthy families.
Mm-hmm.
So my friend who works there told me that they let them have little prayer room mosques all over Catholic U.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine?
I can imagine.
But anyway, that they kept saying that I would be Islamophobic because I had referred to an incident in one of my social medias where what was that? The group that Obama called the JV team, ISIS.
Yeah.
ISIS had just cut off a bunch of people's heads, and I wrote something like, "This is barbaric Islamofascism," and they called me up on that for being Islamophobic.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, but anyway, Terry, it went on and on and on, and they kept, and so they kept referencing my, that what I must be like because of what I believe. Mm-hmm. And when I finally turned it back on them and said, okay, you guys all teach at Catholic University.
Yeah, last time I looked.
What do you think that should mean?
Yeah.
What do you think being at Catholic U should mean?
Good for you.
And, they, one of them kind of shrugged and they laughed and nervously. And so finally one of them said, it means that we care about social justice. And I left it there because it's such a disgusting thing to say at the Bishop's University that being Catholic means you care about social justice. Because I was going to say, don't you think they care about social justice at Harvard? You think they care about social justice at USC? You know, like, so how does that make you Catholic? But the truth is, they don't like the Catholic faith there. They think it's what's wrong with the world. Another thing they bragged to me about was that they were putting on a play in which a woman has an abortion. And it's going to be at the Monsignor Hartke Theater, and there it is. It's a film about, that she makes the choice that's right for her. And afterwards, I talked to the dean, and I said to her, what were you thinking? I know that play. It's not ambivalent. It is pro-choice. And she said to me, well, they promised me that they were going to, make it fair and show, both. But, Barbara, what I do is I just love them.
Oh, my, that makes me so sick. You do not. It's just the opposite.
I know, as if loving them is letting them persist, So I think maybe she loves them, but she has no love for her students. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Because meanwhile, these professors, I know this kind of professor. I've worked in academia a long time now. What these professors are doing is on the very first day of school, they are asking the students to identify themselves, right? And any kid who says, well, I'm a happy Catholic kid, they are going to zero in on that kid and make it their mission to destroy that kid's faith.
That's what
they are. So that's going on at Catholic U. And it's going on with the full knowledge of the, quote, conservative administration that is running the place she's like, we just have to be patient, but they all have tenure, so we have to wait them out. I said, no, you don't. I said, I know how you could get rid of them.
Yeah.
What you do is you say, okay, starting in the fall, I want all of you to have the following art assignments for your students. Something on the Blessed Mother, something on the Eucharist, something on the prayer and spirituality of the church. I said, these people, that would be so repugnant to them, so disgusting to them that they would leave.
Yep.
And you as dean have the ability to do that. Huh? But she doesn't. She's a wimp. And I'll tell you something else. She got the job after the two prior candidates who were put up for it withdrew because they received the same treatment that I did. Wow. Eventually, I withdrew too. I wrote the letter. I wrote a letter on Friday, and then I waited for her to call me Monday. And she called me Monday, and she goes, yes, Barbara, our faculty just felt you weren't right. You weren't qualified for this position.
Give me a break.
I know.
Well, Barbara, I hear the music. We're taking another quick break. I want you to finish up on that story, but I also want to ask you about some of the things you're doing with this movie coming out. I want to promote that, and anything that you're doing, I want to tell people to connect with you. You're listening to the Terry and Jesse Show on Virgin Most Powerful Radio. Barbara Nicolosi's telling me an amazing story about how bad Catholic U is. It's horrible. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome, Daniel. You're on the line. What's on your mind, brother?
Hi, I just wanted to share a testimony about Virgin Most Powerful Radio. I had a buddy at work who, he's a lukewarm Catholic guy, and I wanted him to start listening to the Terry and Jesse Show, so I kept telling him to download the app, and he kept putting me off. So one day, I grabbed his phone and I downloaded the app for him. I went on vacation, and I kept telling him to listen to it. He kind of put me off. I came back from vacation. He comes to my cubicle, and he says to me, hey, man, I've been listening to Terry and Jesse's show, and it's great. And it's made a big impact in his life. The guy, he's going to weekly adoration a couple times a week. He goes to the Mass in the morning. Mm-hmm. He's an on-fire Catholic, and he promotes the Terry and Jesse Show in the Virgin Most Powerful Radio.
Daniel, what a testimony. And I want to encourage our listeners to get those cards by going to virginmostpowerfulradio.org and do what Daniel's doing. Go out and spread the faith by inviting people to listen to Virgin Most Powerful. Daniel, thanks for your testimony, brother. God love you.
You're welcome.
Jesus said to the apostles in Luke chapter 10, whoever listens to you listens to me, and whoever rejects you rejects me. According to St. Boniface, in her voyage across the ocean of this world, the Church is like a great ship being pounded by the waves of life's different stresses. Our duty is not to abandon ship, but to keep her on course. May our Lord help us remain ever faithful to His church, to aid and defend her.
This is Terry Barber. I want to thank you for your support here at Virgin Most Powerful Radio. Here's an easy way to do it. If you're going to sell or buy a house, call Real Estate for Life, 877-543-3871, because they're going to get you a Christ-centered agent to purchase your home or to sell your home. And at the close of escrow, a portion of his commission goes right back to Virgin Most Powerful Radio. Call 877-543-3871. Thank you so much for your support.
Welcome back to the Terry and Jesse Show. To join the conversation, call 888-526-2151. Now, here's Terry and Jesse.
Welcome back. Jesse's out of town. Barbara Nicolosi is with me. She's telling me an amazing story about her experience at Catholic U. And when she's finished, I have one at Boston College that probably is a very similar experience. But why did I ask her to tell that story? Is I want you, mom and dad, who are listening, to beware. Do your due diligence when your kids are going to a Catholic university. Make sure that it is truly Catholic by asking questions and actually finding out exactly what curriculum they're using and really delve into it, because your kids are worth that effort. Barb, continue with what you were telling us before we had to break.
I have several friends who work there, and one told me that at graduation last year, all of the gay faculty were there with their gay pride pins on, and in the face of the bishops who were there, and very proudly that the gay couples and the faculty were there with their spouses, and they were purposely kind of making a statement about, we are here at Catholic U. Mm-hmm. So what people have said to me about Catholic U was, don't tell your story, because there are good people at Catholic U and they're trying to change things. Mm-hmm. And we don't want the word to get out that they are doing that. We're trying to keep it below the radar. But meanwhile, they're sacrificing kids, right? You know, while they're below the radar, this guy, John Garvey, who's the president, has been there, I think, 5 years. And so people have told me, well, certain departments are good there. But the problem is, when your kid goes to a university, they don't just stay in their department.
That's right.
You know, they're eating in the cafeteria. They're taking required gen ed courses from some of these people who are absolutely insidious. And I got to tell you, these people don't, the faculty that was speaking with me, they're not just not Catholic or Christian, actually. He told me, we don't identify as Christian.
Wow.
Right? They're not only not Christian, they think it's bad. They think Christianity and Catholicism is pernicious.
Oh, no.
And so they're undermining the faith of the young people who go there, who are good Catholic kids and come from that. But also, how about people who are wondering about the Catholic faith? You know, the opportunity, and so many people come to Christ in college.
That's right.
Or, you know, they make such big choices. And so if you send your kid to Catholic U, not only aren't they going to become Catholic or stay Catholic, they're going to become people who hate the Catholic faith. And this is right there in the shadow of the Basilica of the Immaculate Conception. Beautiful buildings, you know, and I just had to tell the story, because I know somebody who gave them $10 million. He's a guy from right here in Orange County, and he gave Catholic U $10 million for their business school last year. And I just wonder if he knows that they're doing a pro-choice play, you know, right across the campus.
Yeah.
You know, but again, the reason I'm telling it, Terry, is I think that this is an endemic problem,
it is.
To compromise with evil, thinking that you can somehow be, you know, kind of like stay under the radar. Now, they have at Catholic U, we have the president, the provost, and the dean are all conservative Catholics. And they still are in fear of this group of people. They could get rid of all of them. And here's the thing, tenure isn't God. You can fire people, who have tenure, if they're undermining the mission of your university,
Of course.
it's only that they don't want to pay the money because it's a legal procedure, you know. But anyway, I found it terrible and shocking and horrifying, and so yeah, we do have to get the word out. Catholic U is, in many respects, Catholic in name only.
And you know, Barbara, this has not only happened at your school, but all over the country. Many of these Catholic schools have caved in, and I think a lot of it came once they got funding from the government. That's just my opinion. But Barb, I have a quick story to share with you about Boston College. You mentioned a man giving $10 million to Catholic U. Well, I knew of a gentleman who's now gone to his eternal reward who gave a $300,000 check to Boston College, and he got a degree at that Jesuit school, and you know, he's been giving money to them for years. Well, we were instrumental through our ministry bringing him back to becoming an Orthodox Catholic, meaning that he was right with the church's teachings of the faith, and he didn't compromise anymore. And when I heard that he just gave a check to to Boston College, I told him that this is not good because they're promoting a pornographic play that was going around all these Catholic schools, and I don't even want to use the name of it, but trust me, it's
so disgusting. I know which one you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he said, well, what can I do, Terry? And I said, stop the check. So he went to the bank and stopped the check. And this is a man who's been giving us funding for it was Lighthouse Catholic Media at the time. And so he stopped the check. And so, of course, the development people called him right away and said, Mr. Such and such, did we offend you some way? And they said, oh, no, actually, you didn't offend me, but my good friend Terry Barber told me about the school and what you're doing, and he told me to stop payment on the check. So the guy goes, wait a minute, you get Terry Barber on the phone. So I'm at the public library with my kids, my wife in the parking lot, and I get this call from Tom. Let's just say his name is Tom, and he says, yeah, Boston College would like to talk to you about that check I stopped. And I said, okay. So I told my wife, you guys go into the library. I'm going to be a while. So for about 45 minutes, like you, Barb, I was sweating because they not only had their development guy there, they had their moral theologian come on. And so they're beating me up and saying, Barb, can you relate to this? You can't because you got degrees. I have no PhD, no master's degree. And they said to me, Mr. Barber, why would you tell Mr. Such and Such to stop payment on the check? And so I said, well, because you guys are supposed to be a Catholic Jesuit school, but you're not putting out Catholic material. You're undermining the young people. And I just thought I'd let you know because I love you so much. I'm going to tell you the truth. That you could be responsible before God that could actually really hurt your relationship with Jesus Christ. And so I'm at a charity telling you to knock it off. And then they said, well, who the heck are you, Mr. Barber? What degrees do you have? And I said, I have a PhD in common sense. And can I tell you, common sense ain't that common right now. No. So we got into this big argument, and they, bottom line, the other gentleman that gave the check was having a great time listening to this debate. And then finally, we agreed to disagree. And, he hung up. And then my benefactor called me back and said, Terry, that was so much fun listening to you talk to those people at Boston College. And my bottom line to you, Barbara, is I've seen this happen over my 40 years at Catholic universities. We've lost it, not just at Catholic U, many others. And that's why good schools like John Paul II, the great University of San Diego, Thomas Aquinas, Christendom College, just to name a few, are coming up because we need to vote with our pocketbook. Would you agree, Barb, that people should really vote with that?
Yeah, I think you really have to do your homework. But I think, I've found, like I'm at evangelical school now, Regent University in Virginia Beach, and when they interviewed me, they must have asked me 10 times, the different people who interview me, do you believe that marriage is between a man and a woman?
Good.
Do you believe, they were so careful about that. And all I could think was probably 10 times at Catholic U, I had been accused of being homophobic and told about, what did you think about, how would you talk to our lesbian students and, and would you shut them down, our gay students and, and it was over and over and over. They were letting me know that Catholic U is gay friendly. And So what I'm saying is, yeah, if you can find a good Catholic school, that's great. But maybe you're going to have to find a good evangelical school. But you're going to have to really, you want a school where the whole culture and climate is according to Scripture, is according to what we believe as traditional biblical Christians, right? And Catholics. Because, as I say, it's not enough that you have a good department. And that's the mistake they're making at Catholic U. And you know what? It's cowardice. I'm sorry. It's cowardice. You know, they don't want to lose their cushy jobs. These conservative people have, and so they're saying, you know, well, we're staying under the radar. We're loving them. You know, all this nonsense. And what it really is a lack of courage, and they don't want to lose their jobs, and they don't want to be scapegoated, right? They don't want to face what they did to me. But here's the other thing about the whole thing, Terry. They threw me under the bus.
They sure did.
These people knew what I was going to face.
Yep.
And that's why she asked me that coy little question, you know, before we went in the room. What do you think about homosexuality? You know, and I was like, what do I think about it? You know, what do you mean, what do I think about it? But I think they knew that I was going to, and they threw me into the shark tank with no warning.
Of course.
And then I went through it the entire day. That was just the first meeting. Then I had a 2-hour meeting with all 8 or 9 of the faculty, and these people were vicious. Oh. Vicious. They accused me of being a hypocrite, of being a hateful person, of being a fake, of being not knowing what. One of the guys says to me, "Let me explain to you what story means."
Very condescending, I can tell.
Yeah, exactly, condescending. And you know, I mean, story is my life.
I was just
spent
say
30 years, you know, and yet, you know, here he was. They treated me the worst I've ever been treated in any setting at all professionally, and that was Catholic University. And the dean sat next to me doodling the whole time.
Oh my gosh!
She let them. See, if I was her, I would have said, "Okay, that's it. We're done."
Yeah.
You know, that question has been asked and answered. Well, let's move on. She didn't. She let them have at me for 4 or 5 hours. It was awful. And so, yeah, I think that our side is just gutless.
Yeah.
At the universities like this, you know, and they're gutless, and they don't have true pastoral love for the student body, and it's a judgment call that they're making, and they're wrong.
I'll never forget Father Bill Casey said, the most merciless thing you can do is let someone wallow in their sin. Mm-hmm. And I think that, you know, it would be important, Barb, and I know I did this. I've sent this stuff to my local bishops about what's going on in my diocese, and then I let it go from there. Hey, we got music. One more segment with Barbara Nicolosi. Barb, I want to finish with that, but I also want to plug some of the movies that are coming out that you're working with. Yeah, we sure do want to do that. We'll be back with more on the Terry and Jesse Show on Virgin Most Powerful Radio. Don't turn that dial. We'll be right back. Help the Helpless, a Minnesota St. Paul nonprofit organization chaired by Father of Tyr and volunteers, is humbly asking you for your kind support to help the poor and the handicapped children in India and Ecuador. Through financial support from the Help of the Helpless benefactors, the children are provided with clothing, food, education, shelter, and the teachings of the Catholic Church. The mission is to help children thrive and become self-sufficient young adults leading productive lives. We also provide aid to poor families in Ecuador with food baskets, medicines, medical assistance, and help with funeral needs for the deceased. The work in India is done by Father Antonio's organization, St. Mary's. In Ecuador, the work is being done by the Servant Sisters of the Home of Mother. You can call us at 877-762-8857. To learn more, please visit our website, www.helpthehelpless.org. God bless you.
In 1 Corinthians 13:13, St. Paul says, "So there abide faith, hope, and love, these three. According to St. Ignatius of Antioch, faith is the beginning and love is the end. And God is the two of them brought into unity. Then comes everything else that makes up a Christian. May God grant that we may attain all the virtues that make for authentic followers of His Son.
This is Terry Barber. I want to thank you for your support here at Virgin Most Powerful Radio. Here's an easy way to do it. If you're going to sell or buy a house, call Real Estate for Life, 877-543-3871, because they're going to get you a Christ-centered agent to purchase your home or to sell your home. And at the close of escrow, a portion of his commission goes right back to Virgin Most Powerful Radio. Call 877-543-3871. Thank you so much for your support.
Welcome back to the Terry and Jesse Show. To join the conversation, call 888-526-2151. Now, here's Terry and Jesse.
Actually, Jesse's out of town, but I have Barbara Nicolosi, and she's been blowing me away about a very, I would say, sad story, a commentary in regards to Catholic U in Washington, D.C., which most of us think, oh, my gosh, that's right, where the Immaculate Conception Church is, and where, should be, the bastion of Catholicism. Unfortunately, it's not. And I think that by telling this story, it helps moms and dads realize that they have to be very careful when they pick a school for their children when it comes to education, because you can't assume that many of these Catholic universities are Catholic only in name sometimes and not in its teachings. So, Barb, why don't you finish up with your last thoughts? Why, and then I want to talk a little bit about your Fatima movie and what you're doing. Go ahead.
I mean, I think that it's not only, too, about sending your kids to Catholic U or not. I would never send my kid to Catholic U. Yeah. But I think it's also about donors, right? Because in the end,
big time.
That if money is what moves things. And so
Amen.
People who are kind of being recruited by the university under the guise, they're being told that there are conservatives now running the show there, and so they can trust it. But the truth is, they're not running the show.
Yeah.
The truth is that the culture at Catholic U is deeply, deeply perverse. And so maybe there are pockets of light there, but overall, if your kid is going to Catholic U, they are in the throne center of some pretty dark spirits. That's how I felt oppressed there. I felt like I was surrounded by very dark hate and hostility from these faculty. I mean, they were really, awful. And they had to let me know over and over and over that I would not be acceptable there because of my Catholicism. What's interesting, the dean, when she told me, yes, we decided that you're not qualified. I said, no, it was and she said, well, nobody said it was because of your Catholicism. And I said, you sat next to me for 5 hours while they grilled me for my faith.
Yeah.
And you didn't say a word. But anyway, so I don't know. She's made so many compromises that she doesn't know, I think, anymore who she is. And so anyway, but you can't make a deal with the devil. I remember my mother telling me that when I was a little girl. You can't make a deal with the devil.
That's right.
And every time, the interesting thing is the other side never makes a deal with us.
Exactly.
They just lop off our heads.
That's
they don't have they don't feel the need to play nice with us. But on our side, we do, and we make this mistake over and over again, and our kids are paying the price, and it's terrible. In this hour, there it is. So, yeah, we got to pray, hopefully.
That's what I was going to say, Barb. We need to pray for our leaders in the church, not only because I've spoken with bishops here in Los Angeles regarding some of our schools in L.A., and they tell me, well, we don't have, it's out of our jurisdiction. We don't want to get involved. And it's so frustrating because I say, excuse me, Bishop, you're our father. You're our spiritual father. You should be protecting us from these wolves.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that's not the case.
No, they don't. I mean, Archbishop Gomez is on the board of Catholic U. The board of trustees is full of bishops. It's the bishops' university.
Yes, it is.
So that they're putting a pro-choice play on. So what good does it do for the bishops to write we need to be pro-life little letter? Yeah. Meanwhile, they're putting on a pro-choice play at their school.
Yeah.
No, and they're not going to do anything about it because I honestly, I think that there's a weird thing going on where everybody doesn't want to rock the boat out of fear,
I think you nailed it. You nailed it. And this is something that fear has really it's been put into a lot of people's lives. They want their job. They don't want to rock the boat. And unfortunately, the children that are at these schools are the ones who are being affected adversely. But we have to pray for our bishops and our leaders in the schools, because I would love to see a real turnaround. And, Barb, I really believe some of the schools that have come out, with whether it's Thomas Aquinas back in the 70s, Christendom College, I think 75, that, they're coming out and saying, we can give you alternatives. And so I think there are alternatives for families to go to good Catholic schools, but you have to be really careful.
You have to be very careful, and I think it's not something that's easily done, because you can't detect the culture of a university, in a catalog or even a campus business. You can't. You have to know people who are there, and you have to have a real history with it. So yeah, I'm a professor, and I'm telling you, I would be very, very leery of just sending my kid off to a school, and especially if it's a prestigious one.
Yeah.
Notre Dame, Boston College, the Ivy Leagues, these places, you're losing your kid. You're delivering them.
Thank you for speaking your mind on this issue and not being silent about it, Barbara, because, again, you could have been really just like, oh, well, that's next. What's next? But you see, you're warning people, and that takes guts. And and that's one thing I really appreciate about you. You're not afraid to go against the grain. Barb, you've got a movie coming out, provided the virus is all taken care of and we can go to the movies again. So tell us a little bit about your movie.
Yeah, so the movie is called Fatima, and I got the gig years ago. Somebody had wanted to make a movie about Fatima, and he was a partner with Mel Gibson on a bunch of bars in Australia. And he brought it to Mel right after the Passion, and I had given notes on the rough cut of the Passion directly to Mel. He knew me. I had done some real defense of the movie in a whole bunch of different settings, and I had been on panels, some hostile places defending the film.
Good.
So one day I picked up the phone, and this Australian guy said, "Mel Gibson told me to call you," and he had a movie on Fatima, and so I tried to help him, and it took various permutations, but finally a company in the States bought it out and then hired me to write the script. So that was like in 2009 or 2010.
Wow, a long time ago.
Yeah, I know. Then they kept trying to raise the money. And this is the sad thing, that American Catholics do not support the arts where they're good, and so there you go. That's the problem, isn't it? Catholic youth
gets all the money.
Yeah, it's getting all kinds of money, and it's against the church. But when you talk about a movie like Fatima, that we needed, it should have come out for the 100th anniversary, but they couldn't get the budget together. The budget was like $14 million. This is chump change in movie world.
I bet.
We pitched so many qualified investors who are Catholics all over the country. I probably pitched 200 for the producers.
Wow, God bless you.
Over and over and over, these people who were wealthy Catholics, they would say, "When do we get our money back?"
That was it. It's all about follow the money.
I know. And I thought to myself, I wonder if Pope Julian, when he raised the money, Pope Julius, for the Sistine Chapel, if all the people, the rich princes said to him, well, when do we get our money back? I mean, the truth is, if you make something beautiful in art, it lasts forever. And that's what we should be shooting for, to give a gift to the people of our time and the people of the future. Pope Benedict said, the most convincing proof that the church is real are the lives of the saints and the beauty of the art that the church produces. So in this culture right now, the church, we're not producing a whole lot of beautiful art, which is why evangelization is bad too, right?
You nailed it. You nailed it. Yeah.
Anyway, so Fatima, I wrote, and then it's gone through a whole bunch of things. In order to get the movie made, they had to bring in European money and European voices. And so I wept when I saw the movie, because I knew what had been there.
Oh, no.
It's still a very nice film. I think it will make people feel good, and hopefully it'll send some people to find out about Fatima. So that's August 14th.
August 14th, 2020. And to do that, is there a website where people can get find out what theaters are going to be playing it?
Yeah. Well, it's going to be on 1,000 screens,
Wow.
so it's going to be a pretty wide release. And all the studio movies have been pulled.
Oh.
So there may not be much else in the theaters, but Fatima in August. We'll see. Basically all the summer movies have been pulled for the summer. So it's like Our Lady cleared the way for her movie, in some ways, I think. But we'll see. I think that if this virus thing is done, then people can go to, I think it's Fatima the movie. That's the website, and they can sign up for notices. But I don't think you're going to need to. There's also a Facebook page, too. I don't think you're going to need to have a special way to find about the movie because it's going to be on 1,000 screens. That's a very wide release.
Great. Well, Barbara Nicolosi, I want to thank you for sharing this hour with Terry and Jesse's show regarding Catholic U and the work you're doing. I pray that God will bless you abundantly with this new movie. I hope that it not only goes into 1,000 movies, I hope thousands and thousands of people will want the video and to promote Fatima, because I think of Fatima and I say, Our Lady said this, that souls are going to hell because no one is there to pray and make sacrifices for them. And I think this movie, the way you're going to reach people that might have never heard of the Fatima message, and people could be converted through this. And I think it's exciting that you spent a long time putting this together. And what I love about you is you didn't give up. 10 years later, it's going to be in the theater.
Yeah, thank God.
Yep.
Yeah, thank God.
Well, thank you again for joining us here, and I hope we can do this again.
It was a lot of fun.
You bet. It was fun. God bless you. That was Barbara Nicolosi. She's been an amazing woman. I've known her for years here at the Virgin Most Powerful. And this movie on Fatima, I really want to encourage people to go to it and tell their friends. This is the way you get social media going and build this up, because Fatima is a reaffirmation of the gospel. And I think that's so beautiful that she did this movie and all the other things that she's doing. I think she has a face. Barbara, you're still there. How can people contact you through social media?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook. They can, I'm on Facebook at Barbara Nicolosi. Okay. They could send me a message, they can contact me at Regent if they want me to write a movie. I'm happy to do that. I need another gig. I'm actually working on a movie right now on the Three Kings, Terry.
Really? Tell us more about. You got a minute and a half. Tell us about. It's exciting.
Yeah. No, I've been wanting to write a Christmas movie for a while because it's a great opportunity to do one of our stories, and it won't get shuttled into the cheesy Christian divisions because Christmas is, mainstream. So it occurred to me, we haven't really had a really nice Three Kings movie. There was The Fourth Wise Man, but it was a little movie.
Yeah.
I wanted to do a big budget Christmas classic.
Well, let's pray that can happen, Barb. Let's keep in touch. And when that does happen, we definitely want you to come back and we tell people about that movie on the Three Kings. May God bless you, Barb. Thanks for joining us. This has been the Terry and Jesse Show, a special edition with Barbara Nicolosi. When we come back tomorrow, we'll have Jesse back. And I want to thank all of the Virgin Most Powerful Radio donors, because you've been supporting us here. And we are growing. We're getting more programming coming. And I just want to thank all of you who have stuck with us and persevered in the support of our ministry. May God bless you. And as I say, full sheen ahead, because we need Bishop Sheen's teachings more and more. You'll get them here at Virgin Most Powerful Radio. God love you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Saint Faustina's Prayer for Priests. O my Jesus, I beg thee on behalf of the whole Church, grant it love and the light of thy Spirit, and give power to the words of priests, so that hardened hearts might be brought to repentance and return to thee, O Lord. Lord, give us holy priests. Thou thyself maintain them in holiness. O divine and great High Priest, may the power of thy mercy accompany them everywhere, and protect them from the devil's traps and snares, which are continually being set for the souls of priests. May the power of thy mercy, O Lord, shatter and bring to naught all that might tarnish the sanctity of priests. For thou canst do all things. Amen. Virgin most powerful, pray for us.